Hi. The last time we looked at on a very high level what SAP BTP is, yeah? And today we'll cover as a developer how you can start using SAP BTP. The very first thing that we would need as developers to start using it is an IDE, which stands for Integrated Development Environment. In SAP, we have it in the SAP BTP, we have it out of the box where we have a service called as SAP Business Application Studio, and short form is BAS. So we use SAP Business Application Studio as an IDE to connect across to multiple applications that we want to develop, deploy them, manage them, and all of those things. Yeah. Um, so let's go ahead and then see like how we entered Business Application Studio. We go into our BTP account, so we log in into the BTP account. Let's sign in. Let's go into our trial home. So once we are here inside our trial account, we can directly go into SAP Business Application Studio. It might not work for the very first time, so we have to go ahead and then subscribe. Before we go into that, let us look at our account, how it is, and then we will look at what we can do here. So let me go into the sub account. When we say any account, depending on the regions that we have, yeah, so we have something called as instances and subscriptions that we have in a particular account. Yeah, so one of the subscription is SAP Business Application Studio. If you don't find it in your subscription, you can go into the service marketplace and get into Business Application Studio and then click Business Application Studio. Once you're here, you can create an instance and then you can go to the application. So I've gone across, created the instance, and then now I can use go to the application action. Yeah. So let's get into the application. It opens a new. You can directly go to this link. You don't have to come through the account always. So you can directly go to the link. The very first time we are there, it asks us to accept it. I say I don't want to show this message again. So I come. Once I come into Business Application Studio, for different kinds of application, you can create different kinds of development environment. In the traditional world, if you're developing an application, we had to install multiple add-ons, plugins, libraries into our own machine, and then it would be compatible for developing. Yeah? With the introduction of SAP Business Application Studio, the dependency on the local machine is removed. You can create your virtual machines for the need that you want to do. So we will go ahead and create a dev space, that is an IDE. So we'll do it for test one, and then you can choose for different settings. You want to develop just a Fiori application, you can go for this. If you want to develop a low code based application where you want drag and drop, this setting is not for developers, but it might be for a techno functional consultant who would want to work on both. A full stack cloud application is where you can develop all kinds of applications, just HANA and whichever is there. For us to go ahead, so let us create uh, a dev space called as development, and then we will name it as we'll use the full stack cloud application. And in our additional settings, we'll say we need the if you're developing some HANA, you can select this. You can also come back and then edit the add-ons that you want in the future. So right now we don't want to use this, but let us go ahead, select some HTML5 launchpad basic UI5 template in place. We'll create the dev space for us. Once we create the dev space, it takes some time to start. In the trial account, you can have a dev space running up to 30 days, and after that, it will be deleted. So we can use the Git to store our mm, source code and all of the other information. Yeah? So we'll wait for some time for until this starts, and then we'll get back. Yeah? So we have our development space now ready. From starting, turns into running. So that's when we know it is ready. We can go into the development space. Once we enter the development space, we have a template that comes across for the start of the development space. What you can do, clone the repository templates and all the other options that we have in Business Application Studio. Yeah, so we're greeted with the welcome page. It's called as the get started page, where I can start a template, clone from a repository, import, and then I can look at files. But let us first take a tour of what are the different things that we have here. Yeah? Um, so I have files. I can create new files. I can go into the project. So if I look at the folder structure, which is there, so I have a home user. From users, I have projects. So inside project is where all of our source code is going to be stored, and this is where we're going to use. Okay, so I can explore this. Once I do that, it opens the project, and all the projects that I have created would come there. Yeah? So because we started the dev space in just now, I don't have any projects there. I can do that. Okay, if I close this get started and I do not know what to do, how do I get it back? So I have an option to show all commands, Control Shift P. So I get a command palette to use that, or I can also go across and then go to view and then select a command palette. So once I have the command palette, I can say help, get started, and then it brings back the get started page that I have. Okay. So the very first option is my Explorer, where I can see different things that I have used. I can search within the Explorer, which is there, similar to what we have in other IDEs, which is on the same front. Okay. The source code control, it can be with Git, or it can be with your VS source code controls, not a problem. So the popularly known is the Git, and we all use with Git. If I want to run an application and debug, I use the run and debug options to do that. I have some extensions that I run with SAP. I can view those extensions, manage those extensions here. The CI/CD process is used for Jenkins, Docker integrations, which are coming in place. The Git lens is an extension of the source code management, where I can take a history of a particular file, what all changes it has happened, what is the repository. I can add multiple origins and all of those things in place. The HANA Database Explorer is a little different. For us to use this, we need to log into our Cloud Foundry account, select the space and the account that we are using, the org and the space. Once we have that, it links to it, and I will be able to add my databases from that particular org. And then from here, we will navigate into a new URL where we can do the normal HANA database management in place. Yeah? But we're not looking at in this video. We're going to come back and then in the future videos look at this. And I can have some Fiori tools. I can also have the run configurations, is where we basically create a configuration to run a Fiori application, to run a multi-target application, all of those things. The Cloud Foundry Center, once we log in to a particular Cloud Foundry account, I will be able to see all the services, all the applications to which that org and the space is assigned to. And I can attach one of the services to my application that is being locally run. And then using the environment variables, I can connect to that service in the particular sub account and then do it. It's a little different from where we're coming of a web IDE, where it was tightly integrated with the sub account. But the business application studio is very loosely coupled. I can use one business application studio and connect to different Cloud Foundry spaces. There is no restrictions in place. This will also help us design our account models in the enterprise and in place. Okay. So I have the account, all of those things are together. So we'll look at what we can do, how do we start the project in the coming videos that we have.